Welcome back to Wake Up America. So 5 envelopes containing a suspicious white powder are being tested now by the feds after they were found at an ICE facility in New York City. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the building in Lower Manhattan, which has been the site of numerous protests, was evacuated and 2 people were decontaminated. It comes as ICE agents are increasingly under attack for simply doing their jobs. With us now is White House border czar Tom Homan. Great to see you this morning, Tom. Thanks for being here. So this discovery yesterday in Manhattan comes on the heels of a fiery speech by leading New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, saying if elected, he will not allow ICE agents into New York City at all. What's your message to him? But more importantly, the people of New York? What happens if he becomes mayor?
Well, he can't stop ICE from doing their job. I mean, it's ridiculous even him to say that. I mean, we're all over New York City. We've increased resources in New York City. We're going to continue to increase resources in New York City. I said weeks ago we're going to flood the zone in New York City. We've already increased staffing there, and there's more staffing to come. So we're going to keep doing our job in New York City despite him or anybody else. They're not going to stop the Trump administration from arresting public safety threats, national security threats are in this country illegally. So it's just, say what he wants, but I tell you this, you better not get in our way. There's a line you can't cross. So you can sit there and yell and scream all he wants, but he's not going to stop us. He's not going to interfere with us because that would be a crime.
Yeah, good point. I want to get to this. So recently, Illinois Congresswoman Delia Ramirez was the keynote speaker at a convention in New Orleans where she called out you and ICE. Take a listen to her comments.
Well, Tom Homan, let me tell you, all over the country, we will continue to stand up for our rights, and we will continue to call out the terrorist organization that is ICE.
All right, so she's obviously calling ICE a terrorist organization. What's your response to rhetoric like that?
Like she's meaningless to me. I don't really know who she is, but when she says she's going to stand up, what she wants is she's standing up for public safety threats, criminals, illegal alien criminals, illegal alien national security threats. That's what she's standing up for. She wants to compare ICE to terrorists. Well, I got a message for her. ICE is enforcing the laws that Congress wrote and enacted. She's a member of Congress, is she not? So if we're terrorists for enforcing the law, what's that make her? She's a member of Congress. They wrote the law. So it's just ridiculous. Bottom line is that anybody that goes to the ICE website and look at the ICE numbers, 70% of everybody we arrest is a criminal. The other 30% are gang members, are national security threats that may not have a criminal history, that have final orders, people had due process at great taxpayer expense, were ordered removed by a federal judge, and our job, through statute, is to execute those orders and remove these people. So we're doing exactly what ICE is supposed to do, exactly what ICE has done for the last 4 decades, despite the last 4 years they weren't allowed to do it. So we're going to continue doing it. She can scream and yell all she wants. Her words mean nothing to me. We're going to keep doing our job.
Yeah, and you're doing exactly what the overwhelming majority voted for last November as well. I want to get to President Trump's federal crime crackdown in D.C. I had Caroline Levitt with me on the show yesterday, and she said ICE in just a matter of days has dozens of arrests. What can you tell us about the types of people that have been arrested in this D.C. takeover, and how is it making our nation's capital a safer place?
Well, we arrest a lot of felons. They've seized over 20 firearms. And look, it's just not the people we're arresting to take off the street. It's a deterrence effect. A lot of criminals see us out there in full force. Again, just flooding the zone. So a lot of the criminals just stay at home. They're not going to come out and take the feds on. So not only are we taking danger off the street, we're preventing danger from hitting the street because they don't want to come out when they're flooding the zone with law enforcement officers who aren't going to take it. And as far as, Pam Bonnie's doing a great job now that Metropolitan Police are working with us on illegal aliens. During their enforcement, their law enforcement operations, they find an illegal alien for the first time in many, many years. They're working with ICE so we can not only take them off the street, we're going to deport them from the country. So Pam Bonnie's doing a great job. Again, thank God President Trump, he wants to save D.C. D.C. is the capital of the greatest nation on earth. We should be an example of every capital around the world. And President Trump's going to make D.C. beautiful again. He's going to make it safe again, the way it should be for the strongest nation on earth. We should have the best capital in the world, and we're going to have it again.
Yeah, it's been unsafe for far too long. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis announcing that his state will now be opening its second immigration detention center. I know this one in northern Florida, it's supposed to be called Deportation Depot. How many of these types of facilities do you see the need for as ICE continues this historic crackdown?
Look, I've said from day one, we need 100,000 beds at a minimum. That's what we fought for in a big, beautiful bill. I went up on the Hill, talked to members of Congress for months, day upon day upon day, asking for funding so ICE can do this job, and I've asked for 100,000 beds. That's what we need, 100,000 beds. And you know, there's folks like me with decades of experience doing this job, and that's what we came up with, 100,000 beds at a minimum to run and be successful in the biggest deportation operation in this nation's history. We already deported over 300, I think we're right around 330,000 so far since Trump's been president. We got a lot more to do. But the more beds we have, the more transportation contracts we have, and the more resources we put on boots on the ground, which we've been funded for that with 10,000 more officers. If you think we've been doing good the last 6 months, just wait to see what happens in the next year.
Yeah, and finally, while I have you here, I just want to get your excuse me. I just want to get your reaction to the high recruitment numbers that we've seen for ICE agents. More than 100,000 people have answered the call to help remove criminal illegal migrants. What do you make of those numbers?
Well, look, I think the American people are sick and tired of what happened the last 4 years. They watched thousands of illegal aliens cross our border and get released into the country, illegally, by the way. And I think people are upset. People want a secure border, and today we had the most secure border in the history of this nation. But we had 10.5 illegal aliens come to our border, most of them being released in the United States, and American people are angry. They want law and order. So they support finding the people that enter this country illegally, finding the people who've been ordered removed by an immigration judge, and they want them removed. Again, we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, worse first. I think most Americans agree with that. They want a safer United States. Yeah. They want a safer neighborhood. And they want law and order. And they agree with me that we need to send a message to the whole world. There are consequences for breaking our law. It's not okay to be in the United States illegally. It's not okay to cross the border illegally. It's a crime. So law and order. President Trump's bringing law and order back to immigration enforcement. And it's a long time waiting, and I'm proud just to be a part of it. I worked for the greatest president in my lifetime. I don't care what people think about President Trump. I'm telling you, I've worked for 6 different presidents. No one comes close to the success of President Trump when it comes to border security, national security, and backing law enforcement.
Yeah, and it's only been 6 months of him in office again. All right, Tom Homan, thank you so much. Appreciate you for joining me this morning.